Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Let's get it. Let's go. We are ready to roll. This is a officially a pop up. This is a pop up session, and I'm just going to jump in. I got a short amount of time, but I'm ready to jump in and share this information with you today. I'm just going to make sure I'm up on all the platforms and make sure we're good to go and get rolling. But please, we're popping in. Ask your questions, right? Put your questions in the chat. I'm going to be sharing the blueprint for how to be able to get direct access to 50K, 100K, 150K, be it leveraging our personal credit profile. Along the way, when you leverage that, your personal credit profile is going to be improved. It's going to improve your life and just everything that you're doing, but it's also going to unlock funding, right? It's also going to unlock the potential for being able to expand very, very quickly. And I want you to be able to understand this blueprint, and it's very straightforward. So I just want to get it to you right now, right? So we're gonna jump into it. If you are just tapping in, then I want you to share this with somebody because even though I got a short time today, but I'm going to compress this and get all the nuggets as possible, right? So, Macadamian, what's up? Welcome, welcome. So let's get into this, right? So we're looking at this business credit card setup, right? And we're going to look at, okay, what do you need to do in your credit? We're going to talk. If you have any additional questions, if you've been tapping in and you have some questions that were in your head that you didn't get to, last time, then that's fine. But just make sure that you get this set up for right now, and we're gonna get rolling right now. So, what's up, MD? What's going on? So let's look at this again. Put your questions in the chat. Otherwise, I'm gonna just really push this on forward, right? So, number one is we need to look at very, very briefly, right? There's two pillars of your business credit that's going to set you up. Again, it's going to set you up for everything being better on your personal side. Again, that's like lower interest rates. That's a better access to different things. It's just going to be better for you overall. And then on the business credit side, it's going to open up funds that are, again, no documents, no tax returns, no bank statements, and things like that. And it's just a very accessible form of funding that you can potentially, some of you watching right now, could be literally sitting on it in the next 30 days. You could have direct access to that, right? So I just want to run through it real quick. I hope that you are doing well today, and let's jump into it. So what do you need for this? You say, Kyle, you're telling me I can get access in 30 days to this content. What is that going to take, right? What does that mean for me, and how can I do it myself, right? How can I do it myself? So I'm going to tell you. Number one is your personal credit profile. You talk about the personal credit score is important, but it's not just the score, right? Not just the score, but it's the credit profile, right? So sometimes you might have a 700 plus credit score, a 750, and you can still get denied for business funding, right? How is that? Is because the profile is not set up according to the instructions that I'm about to lay out for you right now. So if you're watching, like I said, I got it. I'm hitting this quick. So take some notes, and we're going to be in and out today, right? So number one is your credit cards. You need to look at your profile, see how many credit cards do I have. You need to have at least two credit cards with a $3,000 limit or more at the bare minimum, right? When you have at least that amount, now you have something that the banks can grab onto, and they're going to give you a comparable to what you currently have in business credit, but it's going to be like a multiplier, right? So now, if you're the ideal space that you want to be in is probably $10,000 or more per credit card. You have two cards that are $10,000 or 15,000 or 20,000, and you've had those cards for a few years. That's the ideal place. If that is you, then you are sitting on a great opportunity to be able to take advantage of 100K, 50K, 150K, depending on how you leverage this. And if you leverage a business partner or a spouse, and using some of these multiple LLC strategies, you can stack that up and duplicate that multiple times over, right? What's going on, you guys? Good afternoon. I mean, good morning wherever you are. So let's look at that, right? So that those two credit cards of at least $10,000, right? That's going to be the first pillar of you getting into place. Number two is your utilization. Your credit utilization needs to be low, right? It needs at the bare minimum below 30%. What's going on, Thomas? Below 30%, right? At the bare minimum. Ideally, you're below 10%. So if you look at your credit card balances, and they're above, 30% or they're 40 or 50%, that's going to be killing your chances for getting funded, right? Now, one quick hack, the most important hack that I can share with you. If this is you, and if you had say, Kyle, I've got the 2 credit cards that are above $3,000. I got a couple credit cards that are 10,000 or 8,000 or 20,000. You know what I mean? That part's good. And I don't have any other issues with my credit, right? My credit is fine. I don't have any late payments, no charge-offs. All that stuff is clean. If the utilization is the only thing holding you back, you could be one move away from getting in place to get ready for business funding. Now, what is that? If your credit score is based on your credit card revolving debt, right? So your credit card balances. It's not based on installment debt and installment loans. So what can you do is you can literally just shift over the balance from those personal credit cards over to the installment. So you can get a personal loan. Let's just say, for example, that you had a $10,000 balance across your cards and you were using up most of your utilization, right? And it's killing your credit score. You could get a personal loan for $10,000, pay off the credit cards, right? And then your credit balances are going to go down. And guess what's going to happen? Your credit score is immediately going to shoot up, like almost hundreds of points in some cases, immediately going to shoot up. And you're already going to be paying less for those payments because the interest rate is going to be lower, right? Now, that's cool by itself. But the next thing that's really important and powerful is that now you're going to be potentially ready for business funding, right? And if you're ready for business funding, that means, okay, we can go and get 100,000, 120,000, 50,000, 150,000 in business credit at 0% interest. And then we can effectively shift that balance from the personal loan, pay off the personal loan, right? There's different ways to liquidate, different ways to balance transfer, but we can pay off that personal loan, that $10,000, and now that's on business credit, right? And what does that mean? Now it's on 0% interest. So you probably went from paying 20 to 30% interest on the credit cards all the way down to 0% interest on the business credit, right? That's a powerful move in itself. And then now we can say, okay, with what I have remaining on the business credit, let's say I got 100,000, you know what I mean, or 120,000, and I put this 10,000 on there. Now I'm giving myself some breathing room. I'm saving some cash flow. And now the question is, what am I going to do with the rest of the 90,000 or the rest of the 100,000 to be able to leverage into new business, right? New income. And I want to encourage you that this can be used for so many different things. It opens up doors when you have access to these funds, because there's certain things that you wouldn't do before, probably if you're just working with your savings account. And what are some things? The most powerful thing that you can do with this funding is to be able to leverage mentorship, right? So you can access probably anybody in the world between $5,000 and $50,000, like literally anybody that has a high ticket program. You're the most successful entrepreneurs and social media personalities and people that are very successful and their students are successful. You have the potential to be able to get into their space and not only get the directions directly from them, right? But also to be able to get like into the networks, right? Where the people that have these mindsets, that are going to move you forward. Because a lot of us are surrounded by people that are not trying to advance mentally. They're not trying to, do things. If you share your big dreams with them, they might crush them down or try to do things like that, and being in these environments can be super powerful. And I'm saying that you can get access to practically anybody, and just case in point, there's somebody that I know, their high ticket program costs $25,000. But what do you get for that? Right? They're saying, I can guarantee you that you can make $30,000 a month, $100,000 in a day, $1 million. And he was showing some receipts from the different students. And somebody had in the month of November, it's like their revenue was showing $3,200,000 in the month of November. All right. So we're saying that if you invest that amount into yourself and then be able to generate $100,000 in a month or in a day, is that worth it? Of course it is, if you're willing to do the work, right? So Hopeland says, do you have any one-on-one or do I deal with your team mostly? Yeah, Hopeland, you're going to deal with the team mostly, right? So this is the one-on-one time, Hopeland. If you're watching here, ask your questions, right? I can answer the questions directly. Whatever it is that you want, that's why I'm here, right? If you really need it, then I can do one-on-one time. But the most effective way to go about it is really to work with the team, because the conversation can be geared around like your exact situation and your exact needs. You know what I mean? So when we're looking at the whole, like, where's your credit? Where's your what state do you live in? What banks do you currently have? What are your goals? What business are you trying to do? What opportunities might there be? There's so many different factors where it helps to be able to have the information to look at. And that's best done with the team, right? And the advisor, either you're going to meet with a credit advisor to look at your credit and to be able to improve it, or you're going to be meeting with the funding advisor because maybe your credit is solid and you're just ready to move forward with funding, right? So that's why I say, if that answers your question, Hopeland, that's why I say the best thing to do is to just meet with the team and ask your questions here. Like anything that you want to know, put it on here. So anytime you see me pop up, and these are truly pop-ups because I'm getting this information out as whenever I can, and that my time is limited sometimes by my baby girl. She's 2 years old and she does her own thing, and my wife, we're also expecting. So it's a full house and a half right now. So I come on here when I'm able to be able to share this information, and I want you to be able to execute. So if whatever questions that you have, ask the questions. But in the meantime, this is why the team is there, right? This is why the team is there to be able to meet with you and look deep into your situation. And along the way, you can always reach out to me for questions and things like that, right? So Hopeland, you said you have 760 personal, planning to open a C corp holding company and subsidiary LLC in January of 26. Hey, that's good. That's great, right? So that's good. And we're going to talk about again the 760 personal score is a great start. Is a great start. You just want to make sure that we have the rest of things in the profile, not just the score, so that the profile is robust enough. And again, that's another reason to meet with the team to look at your situation, because if there's anything else that we need to line up before January comes, when you're ready to launch that, or anything other tweaks that you might want to do with the corporation itself, right? So that this is a great spot for you, Hopeland, to be able to make sure that you don't miss anything, right? So you said trying to make sure I don't skip anything. That's a really important and really valuable approach to have, to make sure that everything is right. And like I said, you're going to want to go to fundingmyfuture.net, right, to hit the little button on there and book a call with the team. All right. So if everything is straight with your credit, and who knows, is there one little thing in your credit that needs to be addressed? There might be. And if so, now would be the great time to start, because you could still potentially have that taken care of even by January when you're ready to open your corporation or your LLC, right? So I can't stress it enough. It's a free consultation call to take a look at things, right? And hopefully you said congratulations on the one on the way and the 2-year-old. Yeah, I appreciate it. It's a long story. It's a long story. I'll just say I'm super grateful to God. It's been a tough journey for us, but just grateful to be in this place, even as stressful and crazy as it can be, sometimes. But I'm just super grateful to be able to be in this place. And this is part of the reason why I am pushing so hard to be able to share this information with you, because I want everyone to know how to access these things that can, accelerate their lives forward. Because again, how long does it take you to save up $100,000? How long does it take to save up $120,000, $80,000? It takes a long time. It takes a lot of discipline. Nothing wrong with discipline. Discipline is great, but we want to apply the discipline along with the strategy and along with these tools that can move us forward quickly. Because that's, if I'm saying that, Hopeland, you might be potentially 30 days away from having 100K, 130K, you know what I mean? Or more if you want. And that's a powerful thing to be able to just, okay, now I can make, what moves do I want to make? As soon as I open my LLC, what moves do I want to make to start executing in business, to start generating income? It's very, very powerful to be able to have access to that. And if there are any other opportunities that you're looking at in funding, because we help with all types of funding, not just this 0% credit stacking strategy. It's a very powerful one. That's what I've been sharing because it's accessible to most people. But there are other types of funding depending on your angle, and that's going to be discussed on the call. But I definitely appreciate it. Again, if you're watching this, if you're tapping in here, I got a short time today, but I want you to hit the like button. If any of this is valuable for you, I want you to share this with somebody, and we're gonna make sure you have the information you need, right? So Hopeland says, yeah, you definitely need to hire a mentor. Yep, it's the best way to go, right? And again, this is the first version of a mentor, is like I said, working with the team in the realm of this credit and business credit and things like that. Like, how do I cut down the time? Because mentors cut down the time, they cut down the failure rates, right? And this improves your chances of success. So this is the first way you can leverage a mentor, because I'm leveraging someone else's knowledge and experience to look at my situations and say, what is the next move that I need to make? How do I eliminate mistakes? I don't want to have any issues, or to at least minimize the issues as much as possible and maximize the funding, maximize the results. And again, in my experience, some of the differences with these results can be the difference between an approval in the realm of $4,000, $5,000, $8,000 versus $25,000, $30,000, $50,000 on some of these credit cards, right? So it's really important to know that, okay, what angle am I taking with this, and how am I going to leverage this now, right? Now, once you do get the credit whole plan, once you do get the business credit, now you can do that again and say, okay, well, which mentors am I going to leverage? And now you have the freedom to choose, right? You don't have to necessarily pay for every mentor. There might be somebody that you can get in touch with, and you're able to exchange some value or add some value to their lives or get in their circle. But you need to identify, like, who is the person that is going to push my life forward? Is that my man Keith? What's up, Keith? Who is the person that's going to push my life forward, right? And if it so happens that they charge $10,000 to get into their circle, if they charge $25,000 to get into their circle, and they're going to show you the exact blueprint to blow up what you need, you know what I mean? Like, how are you going to run these ads so that you can generate, 100,000 new followers, or, $1 million in revenue, or put this program together? You know what I mean? So, like, a lot of people have those answers, right? And you might not have that, and you might be holding yourself back from that because either you don't have it, or if you do have 25,000, you're thinking 1,000 times before you're like, okay, I'm not going to pull the trigger on that. And this is why a lot of people never start. It's the same thing in, whatever business you want to do. And the same thing, like in real estate, people like, I want to get my first property, but I don't have 20,000. You got to save up 20,000. And this is why people do the natural thing is like, okay, I'm going to do wholesaling for a while to build up my cash flow, build up my cash, maybe get some things. It's a good thing to do to learn the system. However, that shouldn't be the only reason that you aren't going forward with funding, right? I mean, that you aren't going forward with the investment, because you could say, okay, I've got business credit now, 100,000, 150,000, 120,000. And now I have everything I need. I can have my down payment to start on my first property, and I'm working with a hard money lender or with a conventional lender, right? I could have that, or the whole project potentially could be covered in that, right? People that do wholesaling, there's different deals you can access. The world opens up completely. But like I said, Hopeland, I would suggest as much mentorship as you can leverage, the more the better. Right? The more the better. And business credit to me is one of these ways that you can, in short order, be prepared to be able to have the funds and resources to get into the right rooms, to put yourself in place. And you get the phone number of the lead person, you know what I mean? And you can ask them questions to say, what exactly do I need? Who do I need to talk to? And then you remove all the guesswork, right? When you're outside of that realm, there's a whole lot of guesswork going on, right? And this is where, okay, you got the whole world of YouTube available to you. You got all ChatGPT available to you, and there's a lot that you can do, but there's nothing quite like just having like the distinct, like, what specifically do I need to do, right? And what triggers do I need to put into my life so that I can execute on this stuff, right? So again, like I said, this was a short one. I might have to hop off here. If you have any other questions, put your questions in the chat. But if you're watching now, make sure you start today, right? Book a call with the team. Why? Because either you're going to get the ball rolling on what you need to do with your credit, your personal credit situation, and it's very accessible. There's payment plans and things like that. It's very accessible. I'll just tell you that now, right? Or your credit is solid, and either you don't know it, or your credit is solid and you're ready to move forward with funding, right? So that could be you today. So I say, get the ball rolling now. Go to fundingmyfuture.net. Fill out the little form. It takes about 90 seconds, and book a call with the team, right? And that's going to be your next best step to say, okay, well, what do I need to do, right? So I have a call starting, so I'm going to keep my eye open on it. But I appreciate you guys for jumping in. Hopeland, I hope that you get connected there and are able to leverage your good foundation that you have. Thanks for the likes. You know what I mean? Thanks for the shares. I'm going to stay on for 2 more seconds if anybody has a question, and I'm going to just squeeze through the rest of these bullet points real quick, right before my call starts. I'm going to squeeze through these. So we talked about the number of credit cards that you need to have, the age of those cards, and the amounts of those cards. The higher, the better, right? If you don't have that, don't worry, because there's ways you can leverage to be able to get the maximum limits, even on the personal cards, right? So you build up your profile in a certain way. You say, okay, I'm going to get access to maybe one of these credit unions. Maybe I'm going to go to Navy Federal. Maybe I'm going to go to, another bank that is known for giving out a high limit. And then maybe I can squeeze by with a $10,000 card, $20,000 card, $15,000 card for my first card. And then I'm using that as my basis for what I compare when I go to the business credit, right? If business credit and they look at your credit profile and you've only got $300 limit cards, $500 limit cards, they're not going to give you a $15,000 business credit card. They're not going to give you a $20,000 business credit card, right? So you have to have that set up. And how do you do that is just look today, because if you got to build, the time is going to go by super fast, right? This year has flown by. Tell me I'm wrong. This year has flown by. So you need to be in a position to say, I'm setting myself up for the future, and I'm gonna push things forward, right? So let's go through this. We talked about the utilization. I shared the utilization hack. If you get a personal loan or shift it to some other installment vehicle and pay those credit cards down, you can potentially immediately be in place. Your credit score can immediately shoot up. A lot of people just don't know it. You know it now, right? Your inquiries need to be at least 3 at max, right? So 2 or less. Ideally, you have 0, and ideally you have 0 in the last 6 months, right? So anything that's 6 months or newer is going to have a more impact on the funding decisions. Anything 6 months or older is going to have a little less impact, right? And the hack about inquiries is that with any account that's not open on your credit report and it's tied to that inquiry, if it's not that case, then you technically have the right to remove the inquiry from your credit report. And this is how the business credit stacking works, because we're able to go through and we can apply for these different cards at these different banks, right? Business credit cards at 0% interest, typically for 12 to 18 months. Apply for the card, and they're going to pull a hard inquiry on your personal credit report. That's about the only impact on your personal credit in the beginning, but it's short-lived because these accounts do not show up on your personal credit if you're leveraging the right accounts, right? If you're leveraging the right ones that do not report to your personal credit, because there are some business credit cards that do report to both, and we avoid those, but the team will lay all that out for you. But if you do that, you can go through and now you can wipe those inquiries off your report, right? So I got these inquiries. I went to 5 different banks. I got 10 to 50,000 from each of them, depending on the bank's limits. And now I can go through and wipe all the inquiries. So now I have a clean slate, and I can go back and guess what? Rinse and repeat and do it again, right? So now, and that 100,000 that I'm saying that you could access, that 120,000, that's just like the first round, right? So you can get that in the first round. And let me just say, depending on who you work with, the results are going to vary significantly, right? So I'm talking about 100,000 in, in the next 30 days, 130,000 in the next 30 days. There are other companies that might not take the diligence to set your profile up as strong, or you might not make an extra move to be able to maximize the funding. And some of the results, I just talked to somebody that went through a program that was a year-long program, which was cool. It was kind of cheap. They got what they needed, but they got barely 100,000 in a year, right? And that was across 3 different rounds and things like that of doing these funding and stuff. And this is the kind of the same banks and the same institutions that I might use with my clients, but they got 100,000 in a year versus 130,000 in the first 30 days. So now if we go back and loop around, don't even mention if we add in a business partner or a spouse or something like that and double up, on some of the funding access that we can get. So now you can say, okay, if we go back 6 months from now and we do that again, then we can access another 80K, access another 100K, access another. And now by the end of the year, we're at 300K. You know what I mean? So those differences can be significant. However, what I'm sharing with you now, whoever you decide to work with, you can walk away with, you're set up the most possible to be able to maximize the funding, right? Now, before I get potentially cut off, like I said, I'm gonna make sure my call hasn't started. But before I get cut off, there's one thing that I have to share is that I love win-win-win scenarios, right? Win-win scenarios wherever possible. I believe in abundance. I believe in, all rising tide lifts all boats. So one of the things that I am committed to is making sure that the next generation is better off than we were, right? Has more information, has more education, has a good footing to start on with this information that is, like I said, is a formula. Once you have this formula in place, you can move forward with it, right? It's a very powerful thing. It's very accessible and very quick. So I have committed to donate and reinvest a portion of my profits towards a fund that's going to be helping young entrepreneurs to get into business, get into real estate, get into trucking, get into investment, get into wealth building, to mindset, to legacy building, all this stuff to be able to change the generational wealth landscape. So if you are working with me in any capacity, then that's going to be part of it, right? And that's, I believe that giving back is going to come around and loop around in some form or fashion, right? And this is how we can help, everybody across the board. Last thing I want to say for right now Let me just check this message to see if this guy is typically late. So I'm just making sure. But last thing I'll share for right now is if you are, and again, please go to fundingmyfuture.net, and just book a call with the team, right? To get your next step. Start now. We are November 21, right? Even if your credit is not great, a lot of our clients are seeing results and improvements to their credit in the first 90 days. So that could mean, even if your credit's not great, that could mean by February, you could be set up, right? To be positioned in a good spot. That could be you. 90 days is going to go by super quick. Holidays coming up. It's going to be February before you know it. And you'll be thinking yourself like, okay, I got started, right? Now, if you are not ready and you do have to wait, right? There are some things that you can leverage. And this is what I want to share with you. There's some things you can leverage. Number one is you can, if you're not ready, you can leverage a credit partner, right? With these exact steps that I just shared with you, right? The blueprint that I just shared about the personal credit, those were the main things, right? The number of cards that you have, the limit of those cards, your utilization, your inquiries, the number of accounts on your report, at least 7 to 10 accounts on your report, the average age of your credit being more than 4 years, right? And no negatives and no late payments, no charge-offs, right? If somebody has that and they have it right now and they're sitting on that, you could partner with them and get them funded on their LLC, right? They can either create an LLC or you guys have one together. And now those are the funds that you can use to execute on the business, to do the mentorship, to do the whatever it is that you need to do, right? So now that works in conjunction. And what does that mean for you? If you are not ready now, you could be executing right now on the business, on whatever it is, in the next 30 days if you leverage a credit partner, right? Number three, what's the number three way that you can benefit from this? This information I just shared with you, those bullet points, if you know that and you can kind of pre-qualify somebody in your head, you could be making referrals to other people. What does that look like? I just sent out last Wednesday or something like that, a referral to an affiliate partner that sent in one person. And guess what the amount was? $2,252 for 2 minutes of work for her to think of somebody and share that name. And that person was qualified. They went through, they got funded, and I sent them $2,252, right? She is super pregnant and not thinking about anything else right now. And she just, just money coming in, right? Now, if she were to do that once a month, those numbers add up. If you do it twice a month, 3 times a month, you could just make that your main thing, right? How long in business? What revenue? Adrenaline Junkie, welcome. We are in, what do they call it? Stoppage time. If you watch soccer, we are in stoppage time right now. All right. How long in business and what revenue? For this strategy, you do not have to have any time in business. Adrenaline Junkie, you don't have to have any time in business. You don't have to have any revenue. Is that crazy or no? To be able to access 100,000, 80,000, 120,000, right? Now, why is that? Because we're leveraging our personal credit profile to be able to get into the door, right? This is the hack. This is the thing that I'm trying to share with you. Those bullet points that I just shared, I just laid it out, right? The cards, the inquiries, the utilization. If you have that and you combine that with setting up the LLC in the right way, those two can get you in the door and get that funding. It doesn't matter because these are no doc programs. They're not going to ask for tax returns. They're not asking for bank statements. They're not asking for personal financial statements. They're not asking for any of that. So this is how you can leverage that. And again, Adrenaline Junkie, if you didn't catch it, if that's not you right now, what's the credit score for personal? Like I said, the score is not as important as the profile that I just laid out. If you did not hear it, I will take 2 more seconds to lay it out for you. So let me know, Adrenaline Junkie, if you need me to repeat it, right? You just got on. I'm gonna say it again. So take notes, right? This is a divine timing right now. Like I said, I got just a little time left. Number one, it's not just the score. What is it? You need to have at least 2 credit cards that are probably a year or more and at least $3,000 limit. Ideally 10,000 or more. Your utilization needs to be below 30% at minimum, ideally below 10%. Your inquiries need to be 0 inquiries or at least up to 2 inquiries maybe, or 3, and ideally none in the last 6 months, right? Older than 6 months, a little bit looser with that. Number 4, please write this down. Number 4, at least 10 primary accounts in your name. These are all your accounts across the board, not just credit cards, right? So this is your mortgages, student loans, auto loans, store cards, credit cards. Do you have at least 10 of those in your name reporting, right? If you don't, then you need to start building. If you do, you're probably sitting on it, right? Your number 6, Your average age of your credit needs to be 4 years or more. If not, there's certain things you can do. I talk about a strategy of leveraging authorized user trade lines, somebody adding you as an authorized user, and their account has a certain amount of age on it, and that gets factored into your average age. Sometimes that can boost you over the edge when it comes to the computer looking at your profile and pushing you through, right? This is the sauce, I'm telling you. Now, next is no negatives on the report. No late payments, no collections, no charge offs, no bankruptcies. If that part is clean, if that is the profile, then you are solid to move forward. Even if you don't have an LLC, because we can help to set up the LLC. I didn't have time to go through the LLC structure, but even if you don't have the LLC, we can set that up for you if you have that personal profile. Now, Adrenaline Junkie, what if you don't have that personal profile? No problem. One, you can start working today to build it. Work with the team, fundingmyfuture.net. Hit the link, fill out the information, 90 seconds, and get on a call with the team. Cool. If you don't qualify for it now, you can leverage a credit, somebody else that has it. Right. All right. I'm turning into a pumpkin. Much love, you guys. I gotta jump off. My call is starting. Peace. Hello. Hey, how you doing?